Honorable Leader of Opposition Business.
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning, Senators. Madam President, I ask you to indulge me to add my voice on the passing of Hurricane Dorian and the plight of the Bahamian people, the destruction of the lives of so many people. I also wish to call out that, Madam President, it appears that a number of Haitians living on that island may have perished or probably perished. And although the counts are not there, but at this time I wish to, add my voice and sympathize with the Haitian people who may have moved to the Bahamas for refuge and settling on low-cost areas had to suffer. Madam President, that brings to my mind our own vulnerability, and while we pray and wish for the recovery of the people of the Bahamas, we also take steps and be steadfast in protecting our vulnerable populations likewise. Madam President, also I would want to express my sincere condolences to the Sipal family, the young man who lost his life, and of course the number of persons who were present at his funeral is testimony to the kind of person he was, and as an upcoming cricketer. But also I know the family, as Seventh-day Adventists in Ghana, they were a very special family to a number of persons. And I do add my voice to his condolences, as the parents are still going through, family members are still going through this. As well as, Madam President, there's the Vic family in Sarat, the young man who lost his life while he was at his home asleep. And when I visited the mother, the following day after visiting, I heard that her father passed away, and I think she's currently preparing to bury her son and father. I add my voice of sympathies of this difficult period for this family. And Madam President, I cannot not add my own family, and therefore, Madam President, this year is the 7th family member. Emil Coco has passed away, just a young man. I spoke with him, but he didn't live enough to even be able to receive assistance. And so on Sunday, I don't know how I'll attend some of those funerals that I'd like to attend, but this is what's happening. So, Madam President, my sympathy goes to persons who are suffering or who are mourning one way or the other, whether it is in accidents or the natural disasters or through sickness. Madam President, to the substantive motion that is before us, I paid keen interest in the deliberation in the lower house on this piece of legislation, and there seemed, Madam President, for anyone who was present, that there was a general acceptance from members of both sides of the house that they were comfortable with aspects of this piece of legislation. And I glean that to the extent, Madam President, that the AG took a seat right next to the Prime Minister and lend his voice and provide clarification. Notwithstanding the bill went through, Madam President, I sense that from the members of the lower house that there were concerns. Concerns, I could add one in terms of how do you process with the amendments being suggested? How do you process somebody applying to open a company with some of the onerous regulations stated here? Some of it, Madam President, the question was asked if somebody may have had some failing with the law in time past. How does that come into, how does that person in coming to be part of a director, because it's almost suggesting that if you have had an issue with the law, you are not allowed to be a director, or it must be considered in applying to be a director of a company. And the list, Madam President, it says there in 2B, without limiting the general, let me see, let me get it right. 1A, someone was committed an offense involving fraud or other dishonesty or violence, contravene a provision made by under an enactment designed for protecting members of the public against loss due to dishonesty, incompetence or malpractice by a person concerned in the provision of banking, insurance, investment, or other financial services, or the management of companies, or against financial loss due to the conduct of a discharged or an undischarged bankrupt, engage in business practice appearing to the board to be deceitful, oppressive, or otherwise improper. D, an unemployment record that suggests that the person
Senator Henry, which section are you quoting?
I'm reading to B, the section 4 amendments dealing with...
Just correcting it, I think you said 1, so that's why I want it recorded correctly.
Yes, I was just stating as 1, yes. Unemployment record, that's D, that suggests that the person carried out an act of impropriety in handling of his or her employer's business. E, engaged in or has been associated with other business practices or otherwise conducted himself or herself in such a way as to cast doubt on his or her competence and soundness of judgment. It is saying that if you're going to be a director of a company, that these must be considered. And there was a general consensus as to how much time. It didn't state how much time. I listened to the contribution from the Attorney General. I'm almost suggesting, I don't want to quote him wrongly, but I understood him by saying that this is not cast in stone. But as a layperson, Madam President, I'm not of a legal mind, and the fact that there were legal persons seated here, even the Speaker of the House did ask some clarification. My deepest concern, Madam President, is to the basis of consultation for such an important piece of legislation. To what extent did the government facilitate the Bar Association for contributing to the design of such a piece of legislation? Because, of course, it is the attorneys, when you're going to open a company, who would process this sort of thing. And therefore, they at best would be able to give guidance beyond what can be said within the walls of this parliament. So, Madam President, I think that this House should not proceed in passing this piece of legislation through all of its stages at this time without and allowing for this piece of legislation to receive further discussion by persons who are best able to lend a voice to this. And I'm asking in considering vote on this, we subject ourselves or this House to section 47 of the standing orders, and we take a division if we're going to proceed with this. But I would hope the members of the government side do consider this thing and let us send at least for the first time maybe in the life of a parliament, that the lower house should consider a lot more than what was considered in expediting this piece of legislation. Thank you very much.
Senator Joacjim.
Thank you.